Welcome to Rise and Shine Daily Business Tech Boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and break them down into bite-sized tips you can use right away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and shine, it's your daily dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Topic number 338 today, how to avoid common cybersecurity mistakes. Such a big one. I'm only going to cover three, and these are the three big ones that I recommend everyone look at and remember and do. These are things that everyone can do, and they will go an awful long way to making sure that you remain reasonably secure online. Now notice I'm checking my words there. I'm being really careful with my words. Going back to episode number 335, you will never be 100% secure. You will never be unhackable. It's just not physically possible. The minute you became, even if you could, the minute you became unhackable, someone would work out how to hack you. So the whole idea here is that we do as much as we can to a reasonable level to be as secure as we can be, and understand that there is a degree of risk in everything that we do. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that people do that are mistakes and leave themselves vulnerable, and the things that you can do around them. The first one, the biggest one that I see across the board, and it's not just on my websites, it's on computers, it's on phones, and that's ignoring your software updates. Outdated software leaves you vulnerable. I know that's a hard one to understand sometimes, but a lot of software updates occur because the application is written, it goes out there, and then someone says, maybe it's a hacker, an ethical hacker, there are such things, but maybe someone gets hacked and they say, I got hacked. How did I get hacked? And they go and they look at the software and we've got a security breach here. This is a security hole. We need to patch that. Maybe it's as they're going through their testing, once it's out, or they're looking at, they go, oh my goodness, that's a problem. We need to fix that. So because you can't test for everything 100% of the time, these things happen, and it's just like we accept that is going to occur. But once they find the vulnerabilities in the software, they will patch the software and they will put out the patch so that we can update our systems. I'm going to use the term systems. When those patches go out, release notes go out. And in those release notes, they say, we patched this vulnerability, we patched this fault, we patched this security breach, or this security issue. People read those release notes, think, oh, that's got a security issue in it. Oh, we're going to go and look for people that are running this specific level of application, this specific version of the application, because we know how to hack them. We know how to compromise the system because the release notes have told us how to do it. Now, that sounds silly. Well, why are they putting out release notes? They need to put out release notes so that we know what's changed, so that we, particularly us developers who work on the outsides of the organizations, go, oh, that's changed. We need to go and make changes on our processes, code, whatever else we've written to do it. So the release notes are really important. But they're also a problem because someone unethical can look at it and go, oh, we're going to go and hack it. So that's why doing your software, there's a long way to get around to do your software updates, guys. When they come out, do them. It's not like the wild west days where a Windows update would take your Windows computer down for a couple of days while you fixed it. Yeah, I lived through those. I used to hate doing software updates, and I would have a day, not every week, not even every week, where I would just go and apply all the updates and hope and pray that they went through and they didn't break something when they went through. It's not like those days anymore. I have to say that I actually have my computer on automatic updates now. my Windows is on automatic updates. It will download the update. It will not automatically restart my computer. I actually have it held, and it comes up and says, do you want to restart now? And I look at it, no, I'm too busy, leave it. I know I'm shutting my computer down tonight. I will apply it as the computer is shutting down and check it in the morning and make sure it still works. Very, 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 very infrequently now does a patch actually take my computer system out. It is still something that I hold my breath on every time, but I do use the automatic updates. So use your automatic Windows updates. Make sure that you are shutting your computer down on a regular basis, and make sure that you are applying those updates when they come down, particularly the ones that say these are urgent security updates. Get them in. That you are leaving yourself open to the world otherwise. So software updates is important. Now, I've spoken about the computers. For those of you that run websites, you need to make sure that your providers are keeping your hardware up to date, keeping the software on that hardware that you're running your websites and such on up to date and patched. You yourself with your website, if you've got an application that runs on top of it, that's normally not supported by your hosting provider. It's normally supported by you. You need to make sure you're keeping those updates up to date and yeah, make sure that they're going on. I will speak specifically to WordPress with that one. Plugins, themes, WordPress itself updates regularly. We do weekly updates. We run the weekly updates, and I will log in the next day, and there will be another 2 or 3 on sites that need to be done. Plugins normally that need updating. I'm not saying you need to update every day. I am saying that you need to update regularly. I do weekly updates. We're normally good, unless I see an urgent security one, and then I go through and update everything then and there. It's because I don't want people vulnerable to compromise. So make sure you're doing your software updates. Oh, phones. Your phone needs an update every now and again too. Your operating system will update. If you're running older phones, sometimes you can't update past the version that you've got. With your newer phones, go into your settings, your about phone update generally is where it is, and make sure you are applying the new software updates that come down for your phone. Really, really important stuff. The second thing to consider is passwords. Weak password practices. Many of us reuse our passwords. Some people have passwords that are years and years and years old, and they've been used from whenever Eve was a little girl, and they're still in, and you're still using them today, and that is a major risk. Absolute major risk. Without a doubt, a system that you have used that password on has been compromised at some point in the past. Notwithstanding everything I said yesterday about making sure all of your data is encrypted, at some point in the past, that data would not have been encrypted. It would have been human readable, and someone got access to not only your email address, not only your name or a username that you use, but also that password. And they will know that that password is used with this username at a very minimum. They may know that it's used with that email address as well, and then they can scan systems to see who else is using, where else that email address is used, and they will try that password on whatever systems they can. It is highly recommended that you don't reuse passwords, that you create new passwords every time you need a password. Highly recommended. To that end, because if you are like me and you have hundreds of passwords you've got to remember, I would recommend using a password manager. I actually use Zoho's Vault. Yeah, Zoho Vault to secure my passwords, save my passwords securely, and be able to access them. And it works really, really nicely. There are a couple of others. The ones I don't recommend you use are the ones that are associated with your browser. Don't save your passwords in your browser. Please don't do that. Use a proper password manager and check the level of security and such that is on that. Really important. So don't reuse your passwords. Use a password manager to help you remember the passwords that you set. And try to avoid easily guessed passwords. Now, that's always a bit of a, what's an easily guessed password? Honestly, I'd recommend a minimum of 6. I'm just counting, six characters. I'd recommend a mix of upper and lowercase. I'd recommend using numerals, at least 1 numeral, if not 2 or 3, and a character. And preferably don't just use the exclamation point, because everyone uses the exclamation point. Use one of the other characters that are on your keyboard. There's a lot there. So don't use easily guessed passwords. Now, the other thing you can do with passwords that I have found works really well is, rather than just setting a password that's got random characters and letters, letters, characters, symbols, and numbers, which means nothing to you, try to think up passphrases. So it might end up, like I said, a minimum of 6, but it might end up being 12 or 16 characters long, and it's a little sentence that means something to you, but it doesn't mean anything. It might be a nonsense sentence, but they're words that you'll remember. They're put together in a way that you'll remember. But they're really, because of the randomness on them, they're harder to guess. So have a think about doing that as well. I kind of like using passphrases, particularly when I'm setting up new websites. So weak password practices are a big one. Please be careful. And if you haven't changed your password in a while, please go change it, and maybe implement a password manager just in case. The final one is your employee training, your own training and your employee training. Human error is the weakest link in cybersecurity. I've said this a couple of times throughout this series already. It is your humans that are going to really, really trip your security up. They're going to be, humans are easy to trick or easy to get information out of if questions are asked the right way. And if they don't go and update their computers when you tell them to, or they don't say, oh, there's a software update, I've got to apply it. If they don't update their phones, I'm going to come back to that one in a minute as well. If they have weak password practices and they're just reusing a really simple password across everything, they're not only compromising their own accounts, they're compromising your business. So make sure you train your employees with all of this information. Make sure you have strong policies in place about changing passwords and about applying software updates and not clicking on links in emails and all of those things, because your employees are going to be the point where something will really go wrong. Now, I was thinking just then, as I was talking about employee training and updating phones and such, people are like, well, that's not my phone. I can't force them to update their phone. If they are accessing business information on their phone, if you are going to allow them to put their business accounts on their phone, like their emails, or access your intranet or whatever it is through their phones, it becomes your problem. If their phone gets hacked, you will get hacked. You become vulnerable. Well, you may not get hacked. Let me be careful. If their phone gets hacked, you become vulnerable because they have access to your systems through their phones. So it's really important to remember all of that. You're right, it's not your phone. It's really hard to say apply your software updates, but it can become a company policy that if you want to access the company resources through your own personal phone, then you need to follow these steps. These are the things that we expect of you. Otherwise, your loss of productivity, the fact that you've got a mandatory reporting of data breaches, all of those things start to apply, and it starts to apply because an employee said, well, I'm not going to update my phone. Why would I do that? So just think on those things as well. Really tough stuff to think about, or to come to a nice balance on, but it is things that you should be considering and things that you should be talking to your employees about. So there's some of the common cybersecurity mistakes. Are you guilty of some of these? Have you got good processes around them? How do you address some of these things? I would love to know whether you've got things that you're really comfortable doing. If you've got anecdotes of things that have happened and you've got, "Oh, I really wish I'd done that and I hadn't." Love to know. Leave some comments wherever you are watching or listening to this video. You can come across to our locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com. I would love to have conversations with you there. What else can we do? Oh, you can send us a DM on any of our social media channels. I will respond to you. If you could remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you find out when we drop more content. I would love that, really. If you could leave a review wherever you are watching or listening to this video, I'd love that too. In the meantime, have a safe and secure day, and I will see you tomorrow. And we are going to be talking more about employee education. Bye, guys.